Miami Dolphins fans should have more optimism for the 2025 season. And on today's show, I'm going to tell you why you should have a more positive outlook about the Fins this upcoming year. It has to do with the defense, but there are a lot of other reasons as well to why I believe Miami could have a better season than many fans are actually anticipating this upcoming season. Now, before we get into why I believe you should be optimistic, I do want to know your thoughts. What are your expectations for the 2025 season with the Miami Dolphins? Is it the playoffs? Is it a first round playoff win? Is it winning the division? What are your expectations? What and how are you setting this upcoming year? To me, if the Dolphins make the playoffs, I think that would be a relatively solid year. Now, there are a lot of reasons why Miami fans are pessimistic, so the opposite of optimistic. And here are the reasons why that I think Fins fans could have some reservations about this year. Well, one, the secondary concerns, because the cornerback room, assuming they lose Jalen Ramsey, is going to be a massive downgrade from last year. And the secondary at the safety department could be in question as well, losing Jordan Poyer and Javon Holland and not really signing a long-term piece to that room. There's obviously questions about Tua Tagovailoa and his ability to lead this team and stay healthy on the football field, as he missed 6 games last year, only appearing in 11 games. And then the offensive line has been a struggle over the past year. Did the Dolphins make the right adjustments to make sure they were in a better spot this season? Well, the one that we're going to talk about the most on today's show is actually the secondary concerns. Are the defensive concerns actually overblown? Because in the 2024 NFL season, the Dolphins had a top 10 defense in the National Football League when you look at EPA per play on the back half of the year. So weeks 9 through 18, the final 8-9 games of the season, Miami actually came in with the 7th ranked defense amongst some normal playoff teams. Now, the only 2 teams on this list that did not make the playoffs last year but had a top 10 defense, or top 8 defense, I should say, in EPA per play, were Miami and Seattle. But the Eagles, the Ravens, the Texans, Packers, Vikings, and Broncos, they all made the playoffs. So Miami's defense was playing, let's just say, at a playoff caliber level. And why is this impressive to me and make it optimistic for this upcoming year? Well, I think it's very simple. In that span of week 9 through 18, when they ranked 7th in EPA per play, they didn't have Bradley Chubb. They didn't have Jaelan Phillips, 2 of their best 3 edge rushers on the roster this season. They didn't have a CB2 in that time frame either. And like I said, we're focusing on the secondary here. Well, let's look at the snap leaders for the Dolphins secondary from weeks 9 to 18. The number 1 snap guy was Jordan Poyer, who we all agree wasn't as good as anticipated, and he is not going to be on the team this year. Then obviously Jalen Ramsey and Javon Holland. And on the right, you have Kader Kohou, Kendall Fuller, and Storm Duck. But how about this? Storm Duck was basically your CB2 because obviously Kader Kohou played primarily in the nickel. You saw the leader, Jalen Ramsey, at number 2 in snaps in the secondary, but Storm Duck had about as equal of snaps as the CB2 for the Fins as Kendall Fuller last season, who was the cornerback 2 on the boundary opposite of Ramsey. So the Dolphins were able to have a 7th-ranked defense in EPA per play with Storm Duck and Kader Kohou as your CB2 and CB3. And obviously this upcoming year, you are then anticipated again to have Kader Kohou as your nickel corner, but Storm Duck, Cam Smith is your CB2. So maybe the defense for Miami could ultimately still be a top 10 crew this upcoming season with Storm Duck and Cam Smith in that role. And make sure you are subscribed to the channel because we put out daily Miami Dolphins content for free. Subscribe now, turn on notifications so you never miss a piece of content we put out because we've got daily videos here all off season long. And as we continue to talk about the secondary, maybe we are overreacting. I just laid it out. They were really good last season in the second half of the year with Jordan Poyer, Javon Holland, Storm Duck getting a lot of snaps last year. And when you look at where things stand in the cornerback room now, Yeah, we still have Jalen Ramsey on the roster because he technically is, but might as well take him out, right? So your corners are Cater Coe in the nickel, Cam Smith, Storm Duck, Ethan Bonner, Jason Marshall Jr., and Artie Burns. It's not a good group, right? It is what I think a bottom 3, bottom 5 cornerback depth chart in the NFL. Like, I believe that. But the point of this video is to showcase, well, maybe the Dolphins don't actually need a elite secondary with their scheme and their system with Anthony Weaver at the helm to still be a top 10 defense. Like, yeah, I know Jalen Ramsey is going to be gone but if you look at that time frame that I just laid out from weeks 9 to 18 and how good the defense was statistically, is it going to be that bad, assuming that you add a corner in free agency, whether it be Rasul Douglas, Asante Samuel Jr., Mike Hilton, James Bradbury, Stephon Gilmore? You look at one of those guys, and you pair that up with what you already have. Is it going to be as negative and poor as we thought it might be? I don't know if that's going to be the case, and I'll explain more even in depth here in a second. But I do got to show some major love to Mando, the whole body deodorant that I use on a daily basis, and it's the one that I trust to make sure I'm not the smelly person in the room. And as the weather continues to get cranked up, I'm outside more, golfing, playing basketball with the homies, and I look forward to it even more because I've started using Mando whole body deodorant because unlike other brands I've tried, it can actually handle anything. Clinically proven to control odor better than a shower with soap alone. 12 hours after a shower, the average man's grundle odor level was a 5 out of 10. With Mando, the average grundle odor level is a 0 out of 10. Their starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like midi body wash and deodorant wipes, plus free shipping. And my personal favorite product, that is the Mando deodorant wipes. They are perfect for on the go. I got them in studio with me because I don't go anywhere without the deodorant wipes. And I'm actually flying to Cincinnati this weekend on a trip to visit family. The deodorant wipes is the first thing I packed because it helps me stay fresh and smelling good, whether it's on a plane or just running some errands, no matter what the situation requires. And as a special offer for listeners, new customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code CHAT. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack when you use code CHAT at shopmando.com. shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando. All right, let's continue to talk about the secondary here because as we discussed about how maybe the concerns are a little bit overblown because the 3 players from the secondary that played the most last season were Jordan Poyer, Javon Holland, and Jalen Ramsey. Those are the 3 guys that you're having to replace. Well, they weren't really that good in coverage actually last season, and they struggled tackling as well. You look at the 3 coverage grades. None of them graded out that highly in that span between weeks 9 and week 18. And they also weren't the best in terms of their coverage, not allowing scores. You see each of them allowed at least 1 touchdown. Your safeties allowed 2 touchdowns. But the part that is more concerning to me was their lack of ability to tackle. I mean, Javon Holland was horrific last season, 19.5% missed tackle rate from weeks 9 to 18, but was one of the worst safeties in that metric for the entire season. Jalen Ramsey, an unbelievable, egregious 21.1 missed tackle percentage. Poyer was solid tackling-wise, but just was not good in coverage. Like, the true point is this. When you talk about the secondary concerns that you could have with the Dolphins, I am not upset whatsoever about losing the starting safeties, Jordan Poyer and Javon Holland. I'm not. And although I would have liked the Fins to address this position maybe a little bit more aggressive in free agency and via the draft, I still think it has the potential to be on par with last year, which, by the way, like I continue to mention, was top 10 in the NFL in weeks 9 through 18, but also maybe even be better. Like, your starting safeties are going to be a combination of 4 guys in all likelihood. And defensive pass game coordinator Brian Duker said this the other day. Ifeatu Melifonwu, Ashton Davis, Patrick McMorris, and Elijah Kamba are all going to fight for the two starting roles. And maybe Dante Schrader Jr., the fifth-round pick from Maryland, could fight for a spot as well. But when you speak about the most likely to be the starters, it's Melifonwu and Davis, the two players that Chris Grier signed in free agency to one-year deals. And last season, they were third safeties. They were rotational guys on their respective teams. And I thought, honestly, Ashton Davis should be talked about more. Like, Melifonwu was sketchy in coverage, and he wasn't the best tackler, but he's had some decent kind of roles in the past in terms of his ability to be versatile in coverage. You see the struggles he had tackling. But how about Ashton Davis last year, man? Sure, the coverage was not the best, allowing 17 catches on 22 targets, but a QB rating when targeted of 73.7 and a really solid missed tackle percentage of 9.4 as well. Like, there might be some optimism here for these two safeties that are going to be added to this room, and that safety department might actually be better than what people might think. And I know we often talk about corners, but maybe safeties need to be talked about as well. So let me ask you this, before I give you my thoughts, who will be a better safety this upcoming year? Both are on one-year deals, so they both could be off this roster by this time next season. Both could be extended. I don't know. But either way, who will be better? Ifeatu Melifonwu, type IM. If it's Ashton Davis, in your opinion, type AD. I'm high on Ashton Davis because he was a relatively high draft pick coming out of Cal 4 seasons ago. Started a lot of games for New York, but didn't get that role coming down the stretch. Was a really sure-handed tackler last season in his role. Was solid in coverage. Like, I think he could be solid. And here's the thing as well. Like, we talk about the secondary being such a concern, but the Dolphins' defense was clicking. And you got to also factor in the fact that Anthony Weaver was a first-time defensive coordinator last year. So, like, he was starting to get the hang of things. In the Dolphins' defense, his scheme, his play calling feel, it started to click last season with subpar secondary play. So, like, if you get equal secondary play or better, which is very possible, your defense is going to be just as good, which was playing at a top 10 level. And if that is playing at a top 10 level with the offense probably being better, with Tua Tagovailoa likely not missing 6 games, like, you could start to be a little bit dangerous here. And speaking on the defense for the final time, like, we're talking about the secondary so much today, but we just haven't talked enough about this pass rush being better. Like, last season, the pass rush was relying on rookie Chop Robinson, Tyus Bowser, not Shaq Barrett. Had Shaq Barrett on the mountain. Emmanuel Ogbah, and Quentin Bell. Like, Bradley Chubb and Jaelan Phillips are infinitely better. And then you also talk about adding Kenneth Grant, Zeke Biggers, Jordan Phillips. Like, this defensive front is going to be better than last year. So that can help try to masquerade some of the secondary concerns as well. Like, the point is this. I will not guarantee the Dolphins make the playoffs. I won't. But I do think Dolphins fans maybe should be a little bit more optimistic for this upcoming season, because I think it's a relatively fine schedule, easy first 8-game stretch, and it's not egregiously hard on the back end either. And you have to think and hope and pray that Tua isn't going to miss 6 games again next season. Like, it's pretty hard to factor in and predict your starting QB missing 6 games. And your O-line's improved too. You replace Robert Jones and Liam Eichenberg with Jonas Savvy-Anaya and James Daniels. That's an improvement. I know Patrick Paul is going in for Armstead, but your O-line should be better. Tua shouldn't miss that much games, and your defense was top 10 in the NFL last season in the back half of the year. Like, there are reasons to be optimistic about this upcoming season for Miami. That will do it for today's show. Appreciate everybody hanging with us here on this Sunday afternoon. Hit that sub button if you want more Dolphins daily coverage, as we're bringing you content every single day.